In the ancient kingdom of Benin, there was a small village called Apana. Apana was a peaceful community that lived harmoniously according to its traditional beliefs and customs. The people of Apana revered their ancestral spirits, and their precepts guided their daily lives. The birth of a child in the village was celebrated with music, traditional chants, dancing, and feasting. However, fate had a different plan for Abdul and Omo, a young couple in Apana. Abdul and Omar were filled with excitement as they awaited the birth of their first child. Although the labor was long and difficult, but eventually, the cries of a newborn baby filled the air. As the midwife cradled the baby, a wave of shock and fear swept over her. The child's tiny head was adorned with dreadlocks. In Apana, dreadlocks were viewed as symbols of darkness and evil. The news spread quickly, stirring superstition and fear among the villagers. It was believed that the baby's dreadlocks were a sign of a malevolent spirit that had possessed him, which would bring misfortune to the village. Distraught, Abdul and Omo sought guidance from the village council, composed of all the wise elders. After much deliberation, the council decided that the baby would be banished on his name day to the evil forest, a foreboding and treacherous place believed to be inhabited by malevolent spirits and dangerous creatures. Word of the baby's banishment spread throughout the village, casting a gloomy mood over the once vibrant community. On the seventh day, the baby was wrapped tightly in a cloth and placed in a woven basket. Omo stood with tears streaming down her face, clutching the basket tightly in her hands. Abdul's eyes filled with sorrow, reached out to touch their son's face one last time. He braved himself and said to the hearing of all who had gathered to witness the banishment, "My son's name is Okhai, meaning hero, because you are our hero." A somber silence fell over the village. The chief elder stepped forward, his voice carrying the weight of authority and sadness. "We have come to a difficult decision," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. "The child named Okhai has been born with dreadlocks, a sign that we believe will bring darkness and evil into our community. From this day forward, Okhai shall be banished to the evil forest, where he will live out his days away from our village." The villagers looked on, their hearts heavy with a mix of guilt and fear. Okhai's parents, Abdul and Omo, watched helplessly as their innocent child Okhai was taken away, tears streaming down their faces. In the heart of the forest, Okhai lay inside the woven basket at the foot of an ancient Iroko tree, his tiny chest rising and falling, innocent eyes closed in peaceful slumber. As night fell and shadows lengthened, whispers stirred among the trees. The watchful gods looking over mortals took pity on the baby. With a spectral glow that lit up the area, they descended from the heavens and encircled the basket, shielding Okhai from darkness. With a gentle touch, the gods wove strands of pure light around the child, cocooning him in a protective barrier that shimmered like morning dew. Okhai slept peacefully within this sacred shield, cradled in divine love. For 2 years he remained within this celestial cocoon, safe from harm. Time passed, and Okhai grew stronger each day. When the gods believed he was ready to face the world alone, they lifted the veil of light, releasing him into his destiny. With a final blessing, they watched as Okhai emerged from the clearing, his path illuminated by their love and protection, a child of both worlds, touched by the divine and destined for greatness. With each passing season, Okhai matured into a strong young man. He became proficient in the art of hunting his prey with the patience of a predator. Gathering food and fruits became a ritual as he learned to move stealthily like a shadow, emulating the graceful creatures around him. Over time, he even developed the ability to communicate with animals, forming bonds of trust and friendship with them. One quiet evening by the stream, Okhai discovered an extraordinary gift within himself. He sensed a deep connection to something ancient and powerful, feeling the pulse of life all around him. To his astonishment, the forest responded back, its energy flowing through him like a river. In that moment, he grasped the ability to commune with nature on a level surpassing mere words. The trees whispered secrets, the soil shared tales of time immemorial, and the spirits of the forest danced in unseen spaces. Day by day, Okhai sensed the spirit's power coursing through him, a raw and untamed force that he gradually learned to harness. Through soft incantations, he could invoke their power, manipulating the elements to his command and weaving magic through the air. As the endless cycles of the seasons passed, Okhai became one with the forest itself, the heart of the wilderness, the guardian of its secrets, and a bridge between the world of man and the realm of the spirits. Okhai realized that his banishment was not mere coincidence, but a fate crafted by the gods for a purpose yet to be revealed. The people of Apana were peaceful. They had not fought a war for over a century due to an agreement with the original inhabitants of the land. As a result, they forbade any form of violence, choosing dialogue and disbanding their warriors. Due to the scarcity of warriors, Apana suffered multiple attacks, losses of fertile farmland and sacred grounds to their brutal neighbors from Ibiyi. These repeated invasions had become a burden, draining the spirits of the Apana people. Their desperate pleas for help, taken to the Oba of Benin, the ruler of the Benin kingdom, were obstinately ignored. This was due to the lineage of the Ibiyis, which traced back to the barbaric prince and warrior Izua of the ancient Benin kingdom. Izua showed no regard for precepts or human lives, leaving Apana's requests unanswered. With no relief or resolution from the kingdom, hope dwindled among the Apana people. So they held on to a prophecy handed down through generations. The prophecy recorded in the ancient books of Esakor foretold the arrival of a brave warrior with a majestic mane, exuding a pride never before seen, emerging from the wilderness to conduct a ceremony and ultimately vanquish Apana's foes. As centuries passed, the tale of the wild lion transformed into a remote legend, a forgotten myth buried in the depths of memory, much like the scrolls that once held the story. One sunny day, 19 cycles following Okhai's banishment, a cloud of sadness engulfed a farming clan in Apana. The community grieved as the Ibiyi militants struck again, leaving behind a trail of death and destruction. In this tragic event, a father and son were ruthlessly murdered, and 3 young women taken captive. The clan leaders promptly organized a search and rescue team to track down the assailants and negotiate the freedom of the abducted girls. Abdul, Okhai's father and the esteemed leader of the clan, was leading the mission. Despite the fading daylight, the search party persisted through the night. However, as the trail grew cold, they had to camp overnight, anticipating a fresh start in the morning. Unknown to them, the crafty warriors had skillfully concealed their tracks, luring the search party into a perilous ambush. Under the cloak of darkness, the militants launched a surprise assault, catching the party off guard. Abdul and his comrades were brutally slain amid the chaos. Meanwhile, not far from the camp, Okhai was startled by distant screams in the night. Driven by instinct, he ventured into the darkness, senses sharp as he pursued the sounds and scents. Drawing closer, the smell of blood filled the air, leading him to a grim scene. Amidst the carnage, he felt a bond, and as he approached the campfire, he recognized his father. Cradling his father's head as blood trickled from his mouth and pain reflected in his eyes. There was a tranquility in his father's voice as he weakly whispered, "Okhai, my hero, it warms my heart to see you one last time." His voice gentle yet filled with affection. "My son, I depart in happiness, knowing you are by my side." As life slipped away, his hands trembled. "Father," Okhai's cry echoed, the forest seemingly mourning with him. In that moment, amid the tragedy, Okhai realized his destiny intertwined with his people's fate, the forest, and the powers within him. Holding his father's lifeless body, a resolute glint in his eyes, Okhai silently vowed to not just safeguard the forest but to protect his people. At daybreak, as the sun rose on the horizon, Okhai, heavy-hearted yet resolute, collected the bodies of the fallen, including that of his father. With great care, he positioned them on a makeshift carriage and set out towards the village, each step resonating the 19 years since his banishment. As he neared Apana, the peaceful morning was interrupted by the ominous sound of thunder, signaling an approaching storm from the west. As the rain poured down heavily, Okhai emerged from the forest's west end, leading a magnificent procession unlike any seen before by the villagers. As Okhai's caravan rolled into the heart of the village, residents emerged from their homes, captivated by the unfolding spectacle. At the forefront of the procession rode Okhai on an elephant carrying the carriage of the fallen, followed by a group of majestic lions, a herd of elephants and other wild animals. Okhai's procession unfolded like the prophecy described in the ancient books of Esakor. The villagers, filled with a mix of wonder and apprehension, watched in astonishment as nature itself seemed to obey Okhai's command. With raised hands, Okhai brought the untamed animals and the thunderstorm to a halt, all without hesitation. Disembarking from the elephant, Okhai made his way to his father's residence, where his mother stood frozen in shock. Okhai approached her, embracing her trembling body in a comforting hug, and offered silent words of solace and reassurance, providing what little comfort he could in the face of their shared grief. After consoling his mother, Okhai walked deliberately towards the village square, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. With a simple gesture, he directed the procession of wild animals to follow him, much to everyone's astonishment. The animals obediently formed a majestic entourage behind him, while the villagers, intrigued by the unfolding events, fell in line as if drawn by an invisible force. The thunderstorm had passed, leaving a clear, sunlit sky in its wake. Upon arriving at the village square, Okhai patiently waited for all the chiefs and elders to gather before him. In a composed demeanor and a voice filled with authority, Okhai began to speak. He recounted the tragic events that had befallen the search party, vividly describing the ambush and the lives lost, including that of his father. Despite his tragedy, Okhai exuded strength and determination, speaking with eloquence, insight, and wisdom that surpassed his years. He spoke of destiny and a divine plan, revealing that his birth and banishment had been orchestrated by the gods to prepare him for a prophesied fate written in the ancient books of Esakor. The elders were astounded by his knowledge of the ancient texts. Okhai explained that his father's passing, though a profound loss, was a hidden blessing, as it paved the way for him to confront the tyranny afflicting his people. Before embarking on the mission to free the village, he insisted on giving his father a burial ceremony befitting a respected clan leader. However, he disclosed a crucial step in the process. Okhai declared that his father's body must be returned to the forest to rest among the spirits, to replace his own. This was the only way to neutralize the curse placed upon him during his banishment, and to restore balance and harmony to the forest, the spirit world, and the village. The chiefs and elders resonated with his words, recognizing the authority in his remarks as they listened in silent reverence. Moved by the conviction and wisdom of the young man standing before them, they all unanimously agreed, acknowledging Okhai's authority on the matter and the importance of his quest. They believed that his arrival was the prophecy foretold in the ancient books of Esakor. As the events unfolded in accordance with the ancient prophecy, the people of Apana were amazed by the accuracy of the predictions. They were in awe of how Okhai and his caravan perfectly embodied the warrior from the wilderness, complete with a majestic mane and an unprecedented pride of lions. This revelation left no room for doubt in their minds regarding the divine orchestration of these events. As preparations for the burial ceremony of Okhai's father, Abdul began. Igniting a buzz of activities throughout the village, representatives from all 7 clans gathered in solemn solidarity, with every chief and elder present signifying the importance of the moment. Every traditional rite and ritual befitting an elder was meticulously observed, culminating in a ceremonial bonfire where clan leaders gathered in a circle, chanting solemnly into the night. As night fell and shadows danced from the flickering flames of the ceremonial bonfire, Okhai stepped forward to speak, recounting intricate details of Abdul's life. The villagers were left in awe, convinced that Okhai was truly the chosen one, destined by the gods to lead them to salvation. Approaching midnight, Okhai delivered a grave warning to the crowd, his voice carrying the weight of prophecy. He announced his intention to journey into the forest with his father's remains at dawn, urging every family in Apana to prepare for what lay ahead. With provisions gathered before midnight, food, water, and essentials, They were to remain within the village for safety, refraining from entering the forest under any circumstance, to avoid divine punishment, awaiting invaders and wanderers until his return. With the impending will of the gods set to be unleashed, driving out invaders and paving the way for a period of peace and prosperity in Apana, the villagers hurriedly made ready at dawn, heeding Okhai's warnings with a mixture of fear and optimism. In Okhai, they perceived not only a leader, but a vessel for divine intervention, destined to navigate them from darkness into a new era of light. As the village of Apana prepared for its fateful dawn, Okhai remained attentive to the god's whispers. Throughout the night, he sat alone in silent communion, seeking guidance and strength for the impending journey. Meanwhile, spurred by Okhai's warning, the villagers rose early from their slumber, hastily gathering provisions in the pre-dawn hours in anticipation of the imminent upheaval that would soon shake their community. Okhai sought out his mother Omor, offering words of comfort, reassurance, and a promise of swift return. With a heavy heart, Omor bid her son farewell, aware that the fate of their village rested on his young shoulders. With his father's remains placed on a carriage on the back of an elephant, Okhai set forth, leading his entourage of wild animals through the familiar path, retracing the same route they had taken upon their arrival. Back in the village, the villagers heeded Okhai's instructions, preparing themselves and their homes before midnight struck. As the witching hour descended upon Apana, a dense mist blocking the forest from view formed. For 2 days and nights the earth trembled beneath the relentless rumblings emanating from the forest depths, with strange and unsettling noises, instilling fear in all who heard them. During the fleeting daylight moments, the villagers hastily gathered provisions, ensuring they were well prepared for the long night ahead. On the third day, as the mist evaporated and rays of sunlight pierced through the clouds, the villagers cautiously emerged from their homes, their voices hushed and trembling with anticipation and apprehension. Suddenly, Okhai emerged from the forest's edge, flanked by 2 majestic lions, holding the war regalia of a fearsome Ibiyi warlord. He made his way to the village square, where he mounted the war regalia on a spike, a silent proclamation of victory over their oppressors. The village erupted into jubilant celebrations, the air filled with sounds of joy and victory songs. As their cries of joy echoed into the heavens, Okhai silently retreated to his father's house. The following days were filled with jubilation and festivity as the villagers celebrated their newfound peace, tranquility, and prosperity. The return of all captives, including the 3 abducted girls, and the reclamation of their lands, marked the beginning of a new era for Apana. The Ibiyi warriors disappeared from sight, never to be seen again. In the years that followed, Okhai ascended to become the paramount ruler of Apana, guiding his people with wisdom and benevolence for many years. During his reign, the village of Apana flourished in enduring peace. When Okhai eventually passed from this world, he was reunited with his ancestors in the embrace of the forest, leaving behind a legacy that would echo through the ages. After his death, legends and tales emerged, recounting Okhai's exploits, one narrative after another, each weaving a unique tale of mystery and awe around the events. Some spoke of how he had summoned the spirits of the forest to aid him in battle, their mysterious forms striking fear into the hearts of the Ibiyi warriors. With awe and admiration, they told of Okhai's mastery over the elements, wielding fire and lightning with a flick of his wrist. Others told tales of trees coming alive, entangling the Ibiyi warriors in their grasp, a chilling narrative of nature's wrath unleashed through Okhai's connection to the wilderness. But the most frequently shared tale, and a favorite among children, spoke of a perilous chase through the wilderness, led by Okhai's wild animals. According to this tale, the Ibiyi warriors attempted to flee through the treacherous Kukuruku mountains. But with each step, the warriors found themselves pushed deeper by the animals, into the heart of darkness, until they all met their untimely demise, amidst the steep peaks and valleys of the treacherous mountains. Though the truth may never be known, the legend of his bravery and sacrifice lives on, immortalized in the hearts and minds of the Apana people. As the years turned into generations, His story became interwoven into the fabric of their folklore, a demonstration to the enduring power of courage, destiny, and the mysteries of the gods.